Welcome, everybody, to the 423 Football Podcast. Today I am back to discuss our KPT BALLAS League of Record Week 7 recap and Week 8 preview, if you will. It's just me today. We were going to have Brett on the show, but Brett's actually in Knoxville at the moment. He's in Knoxville doing stuff with work. Boring, obviously. Doing work stuff. Peyton's doing his work thing as well. Kevin actually has his family in town this weekend, so he will not be on the show today. So it's just me. So hopefully you won't get bored with just me talking on the show today. Like I said, it's going to be our League of Record Week 7 recap and Week 8 preview. Just want to start off by saying I just got back from our trivia, or we do trivia on Thursday nights usually. So I know we said, or the past couple episodes, or the past couple weeks, I should say, if you've been listening to the show, we do a beer of the episode. We've had some great beers on the episode, or on the show the past couple weeks. But today it's just me, and I just came back from trivia at a certain bar, and so I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little bit buzzing right now. Don't want that to stray you away from. I'm not so far gone to where I am completely delusional in my fantasy football knowledge, so just don't want to scare you guys off right away. But I am a little bit buzzing right now. I had some delicious Yingling. If you people in the South, you know how delicious Yingling can be. We have a special going on at the bar that I was at. And so, yeah, I had a few of those. I know if, I guess we haven't mentioned this yet, but in a few weeks, towards the end of November, beginning of December, we are actually going to be going to Green Bay, Wisconsin, to Lambeau Field for a Packer game. Packers are playing the Buccaneers on December 3rd in Green Bay. If you guys know me, I guess I haven't introduced myself. I am Brandon Bouchard, if you couldn't recognize it by the voice. But, we will be in Green Bay, Wisconsin. I have a bunch of family in Green Bay. My father, Brad Bouchard, actually grew up in Wisconsin, born in Madison, grew up in Green Bay. He's been a Packer fan since birth. I've had family that were the original shareholders of the Packers. We are going to be actually up there in Green Bay on December 3rd. We might actually have a show. We might actually record from Green Bay in the near future, or while we're up there. So, just want to say, I don't know. I was talking about Yingling here in a second, so I got kind of sidetracked. But, we're going to be in Green Bay. I'll be staying at my uncle's house. I have grandparents. I have a ton of family up there. But I'll be staying at my uncle's house. Shout out to Marty Bouchard. Marty is awesome. He's the best. I was talking about Yingling a little bit ago. And apparently, these Wisconsinites do not have Yingling available to them. So, I don't know. I didn't really know that until this past summer when I went up there, but I'll make it a point to, hopefully people will remind me, but I'll make it a point to get Yingling up there to those guys pretty soon. I'll bring a little bit along when we travel up north. That's still a few months away, but anyway. Back to our actual podcast and the fantasy football news. I just want to, before I get into the fantasy football segment, I do want to point out that I am not solely just focused on football completely. I'm a sports fan in general. and the World Series is going on right now. And I just want to say, I'm not a Dodgers fan or a sorry. I'm still getting over a cold too. But I'm not a Dodgers fan. I'm not an Astros fan. I'm actually a Brewers fan. Hence, me being a Packer fan, Brewers fan, Packer fan, kind of goes in the same boat. But this World Series has been super, super exciting. We're only 2 games in. I don't know if you watched Game 2. Game 2 was fantastic. At the very beginning of the year, I predicted that Dodgers and Astros would be in the World Series. Hey, here we are. But I just love. This is probably going to be one of my favorite World Series in recent memory, because I'm a super, super huge Clayton Kershaw fan. I love Carlos Correa. I love Jose Altuve. I love Justin Verlander. I don't know. There's so many people to love in this series, and I think it's going to be extremely exciting. Hopefully, it'll probably finish up in the next or by next week. So we'll be talking about that on the show coming up. Okay. Now to fantasy football. This is why you came here. Gonna dip into the news. The only really news section I have, I guess it's all injuries, injury related. But I want to mention Aaron Rodgers. He appeared on Conan Thursday night. He said he had 13 screws placed in his collarbone. When asked about it, he said it was a bit of an exaggeration, possibly. I don't know. A lot of people say 13 screws. The more screws, the longer time it takes to recover. So I don't know. I don't really know what to make of this. I do want to say that in the recent years, or the past couple years, especially since Aaron Rodgers broke his collarbone on the left shoulder a few years back in 2013, the technology to repair broken collarbones has vastly improved. So obviously there's I've done a little bit of reading on this. They actually put a plate in. It's like a curved plate onto the collarbone, because the collarbone itself is curved. So they put a curved plate onto the collarbone, and then screws go into the plate. So I don't really know. I mean, I'm not a doctor, just like I've said in the past couple episodes. I'm not a lawyer or anything. I'm just another guy. So in my opinion, I guess I'm not making that big of a deal out of Aaron Rodgers saying that there was 13 screws placed, because the technology is changing every day, and the fact that there is a new plate, or this is a totally new plate being inserted into his collarbone than the last time. Granted, I should backtrack. He did not have surgery the last time, but at the time, if you were to have surgery back in 2013, it would be completely different than the surgery he would have today. So I don't know. I don't really know how it's going to heal. As a Packer fan, obviously, I'm hoping that it'll heal faster than it would have in the past, but I still think it's going to be a waiting game, and we're going to just see how it goes. All right. It's obviously just me today. I'm going to go through a few injuries that I've seen pop up, more significant injuries that I've seen pop up the past couple days. And I'm going to tell you if they're going to be in or out, or my predictions if they're going to be in or out. So, Tevin Coleman, he's dealing with a knee injury right now. He was limited in practice on Thursday, but I expect him to be in. I really like Tevin Coleman this week if he does play. I don't think Devontae Freeman has that great of a week, but I think Tevin Coleman actually, as a pass catcher, I think he does. We got Charles Clay. He's dealing with a knee injury as well. Did not practice on Thursday. He was seen on crutches after the game last week. I think he's going to be out this week. So if you have Charles Clay, definitely make some arrangements to play someone else at the tight end position. Stephon Diggs, dealing with a groin injury. He did travel to London, or I think this is the London game. Maybe not. I don't know. But Stephon Diggs, dealing with a groin injury. I think he'll play this game, but I do want to kind of segue this into Jason McCourty, because Vikings are playing the Browns. Jason McCourty, he's questionable at this point with a knee injury, so I think McCourty will play this game, so that might downgrade Stephon Diggs. McCourty has been fantastic, absolutely fantastic this year. So even if Stephon Diggs plays and Jason McCourty plays, I think it's going to be kind of a disappointing week for Stephon Diggs, unfortunately, if McCourty plays. If McCourty doesn't play, I'm rolling Stephon Diggs out regardless. Like I said, play your studs. All right, Emmanuel Sanders dealing with an ankle injury still. I think he's going to be out. Golden Tate dealing with a shoulder injury. I think he's going to be out. Melvin Gordon actually popped up on the injury report. He's been limited with a foot injury, kind of similar to Leonard Fournette. I don't think it's as serious as Leonard Fournette's, because Leonard Fournette's dealt with this in the past. So I think Melvin Gordon will play in this game, which I like him a lot because he's playing the Patriots, and Patriots' run defense has not been very good. All right, speaking of the Patriots, Danny Amendola dealing with a knee injury, limited on Thursday. I think he's going to be out this game, actually. I think it's going to be a big Chris Hogan game. Michael Thomas dealing with a knee injury, limited on Thursday as well. I assume he'll play, but it's just something we're going to have to monitor. It might be a game-time decision, actually. But I do like Michael Thomas in this game. I actually like Ted Ginn quite a bit as well. Jason Peters, this isn't really that specifically fantasy relevant, but Jason Peters is out for the season with a torn ACL and MCL. So all those people rooting for the Eagles and on the Eagles hype train at the moment, which I've been on the hype train as well, because I think Carson Wentz and the Eagles have been looking fantastic. But losing Jason Peters at left tackle is a big deal. It is a very big deal. Obviously, that's the blind side to Carson Wentz, and I don't know. It might result in some problems here in the future. But I'm still liking the Eagles until we see something drastically inferior to Jason Peters' left tackle play. I'm not really going to downgrade anyone on the Eagles offense. All right, this has more to do with Dez Bryant. Dez Bryant's not hurt or anything, but Josh Norman, he's been dealing with a rib injury the past couple weeks. He was limited on Thursday, so it might be a good sign for him to play on Sunday. Cowboys play the Redskins. If Josh Norman does play and he's fully healthy, I really don't like Dez Bryant in this game. Dez Bryant, as we mentioned in the past couple shows, Dez Bryant cannot face up against top corners. Josh Norman's definitely a top corner, and I think if Josh Norman does play, I think Dez Bryant gets shut down. However, this week is bye apocalypse, bye week from hell, bye Mageddon, all that. So if you do have Dez Bryant and you don't have that many better options, definitely roll Dez Bryant out there. Play your studs. It's not a good week. It's a bye week. Even if Josh Norman, even if they have a tough matchup, I still say play your studs this week. Two more guys to mention in the injury report: Delaney Walker and Corey Davis, both questionable coming into this week. I don't expect Delaney Walker to play. He was seen on crutches at the end of the game last week. Corey Davis, however, he's been out for a couple weeks now. He's questionable going into this game. I actually think Corey Davis is going to play. I don't know how much he's going to get done. I wouldn't necessarily start him if I was a Corey Davis owner, but I do like him moving forward. So definitely hanging on to Corey Davis, and hopefully he'll get back on the right track after his injury. All right, jumping into the KPT BALLAS, our League of Record week recap. I am still at the top at 6-1 after defeating Matt. Obviously, it's just me today, so I don't have anyone bashing me for saying that I'm at the top. But it's the truth. I'm at the top. Get over it. It might change in the next few weeks, but at the moment, I'm at the top. We'll see what happens. All right, Heather and Kevin at 5-2. Matt and Bush are 4-3. Peyton and Steele are at 3-4. Brett and Charles 2-5. And Joseph is at the bottom at 1-6. I do want to say, though, this week was crazy, absolutely crazy for our matchups. I know Joseph had a close game, Brett had a close game. I'll mention those here in a few minutes. But I'm going to jump into the awards section. And really, I didn't really have that many awards to give out. Actually, I really only had one. I'm going to give the pickup of the week to Peyton for picking up Evan Ingram. Evan Ingram continued his good tight end performance with 12 points. It helped Peyton defeat Brett, I believe. I think he was facing Brett, or he might have been facing Joseph. I can't remember. But yeah, either way, Peyton won on the back of Evan Ingram. So I didn't really have that many awards to give out this week. It was kind of a duller week in the awards department. However, the matchups were pretty good. Brett only lost by 3 points. Joseph lost by 5. It all came down to Monday Night Football. I know we had a group message going on, and we were all texting back and forth like, "Oh, this is crazy." Joseph and Brett might actually win because Joseph and Brett were down by, I believe, a significant amount going into the Monday night games, and they started to make a comeback. And I thought they were going to win. I was hoping because for my own case for the playoff run, I was hoping Brett and Joseph would win, but they ended up losing. It was very, very close. I was going to give Joseph the Pickup of the Week award for getting Jared Goff and nearly winning, but I gotta say, Joseph would have won if he had kept Derek Carr. He dropped Derek Carr. Obviously, Derek Carr went off for 30 points on Thursday night. Jared Goff had a pretty good game, but Derek Carr would have won Joseph his matchup. So, can't really give him the benefit of the doubt there. All right, waiver wire ads this week. I want to mention just a few. Brett picks up Kenny Stills. I think he's going to have a pretty good game against the Ravens. Obviously, I'm recording this before the Thursday night game. You'll be hearing this on Friday, so maybe Kenny Stills has a crappy game. Well, that remains to be seen. But I don't know. I'm hoping for a good game. Peyton picks up Juju Smith-Schuster and O.J. Howard. Both kind of flyers at this point. Honestly, all of these are pretty much flyers. It's, like I said, it's the bye week from hell, so we'll see what happens. Matt gets Jalen Richard. Joseph gets Jermaine Kearse. And Kevin picks up Greg Olsen. We mentioned him on the show, the last show, I believe. So, Greg Olsen's still injured. He's been out for a while, but he might be back in a couple weeks. And if he is back and healthy, he's going to be a phenomenal tight end. Top 5 easily. Sorry, I keep coughing. I'm still sick. It's brutal. I do want to say that Kevin dropped Alex Collins, which I thought was a bit odd. I think Alex Collins, again, like I said, I'm recording this before the Thursday night game. I don't know what's going to happen in terms of Alex Collins and Buck Allen in the Thursday night game. But I kind of like Alex Collins moving forward. I like him a little more than Buck Allen. I don't really know what's going to happen, but we'll see. We'll see. I do believe Alex Collins. He might even have a double-digit game. I don't know, but we'll see. All right, moving into the Week 8 matchups. This week, I will be going up against Bush. Matt will be going up against Joseph. Heather versus Steele. Peyton versus Kevin. And Charles versus Brett. I feel this is a big week because we're starting to separate. And if people don't start winning games, it might drag away, or we might have people pulling away and solidifying playoff spots, which I'm okay with because I'm in first right now, so maybe I'll be able to lock up a playoff spot pretty soon. I don't know. That remains to be seen. Anything can happen. I could finish last for in our fantasy league. I don't know. It's fantasy football, so anything can happen. All right, before I close out the show, I do want to... Sorry, it's been bad today. The coughs are real. But before I end out the show, I do want to... I'm not solely fantasy football focused, and actually I'm more... in terms of football in general, I am so much more dedicated to the actual game than fantasy football. So, that being said, I want to do a little... I wrote down 5 quarterbacks that I would like to, at this point in the NFL, that I would like to start a franchise with. So this is... I want to preface this by saying it might not be the youngest guys. I just think in the next, these are the 5 guys that I think maybe in the next 10 to 15 years that are most likely to win me the most Super Bowls. So, here we go. First, I got Aaron Rodgers. He's arguably the most talented quarterback we've ever seen play the game of football. I think he's had some issues in the past with his team having injuries and his defenses being poor. He has won Super Bowl already, but if you were to put him on any franchise, they would be an automatic playoff contender, automatic Super Bowl contender. I truly, truly believe that, and basically, I don't think there's anyone better to lead a team at this point and possibly get them to a Super Bowl. All right. Second, this might be a surprise, but I got Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz at number 2. He's the younger guy out of probably all... Actually, yeah, he's the youngest guy out of all of these quarterbacks. But I really believe he's the future of the NFL. I think that he can easily, at some point in his career, lead the Eagles, specifically, to a Super Bowl title. I don't expect it to be this year, even though they are performing very, very well at the moment. But I don't see it coming this year. But I do like Carson Wentz going forward, and he's the youngest, and I think he's the best out of all the younger guys. All right, number 3. I got Tom Brady. People might think that's a little bit weird. Obviously, his age, he's 40 at the moment. But if I was going to make a team to go to the Super Bowl, I have a lot more confidence in Tom Brady winning 2 or 3 Super Bowls in the next 5 years than I have in a lot of quarterbacks. Say Cam Newton, for instance. I have more faith in Tom Brady winning 2 or 3 Super Bowls in the next 5 years than I have Cam Newton winning a Super Bowl in the next 10 years. So that's why I have Tom Brady here. It's definitely, obviously, if you're building for the future, if you're looking 10, 15 years ahead, Tom Brady's obviously not the guy. But if you were looking at a guy to lead you to a Super Bowl if you were looking at 2 or 3 Super Bowls in the next 10 years, I definitely expect Tom Brady to, I have more confidence in Tom Brady doing that than a lot of other guys. All right, number 4, I've got Russell Wilson. He's a guy who's already done it. He's gone to the Super Bowl twice. He's won once. Should have won twice, in reality. But I think his composure and the way he plays the game of football is unlike anything we've ever seen, really. I don't think anyone, he has a decent arm. He can run the ball. He's honestly like Steve Young-esque. He doesn't really have that many pieces around him on offense as Steve Young did, but his defense is so good. And just his composure, Russell Wilson's ability to not turn the ball over, which is a very, very big factor in the NFL today, not being able to turn the ball over. So yeah, I like Russell Wilson going forward. Number 4 at the quarterback position if I was going to build a franchise. Number 5, and a lot of people, if they were building a franchise, they'd have this guy at number 1. I almost didn't put him on this list because, I don't know, his injuries have scared me in recent memory. But Andrew Luck, I have to put Andrew Luck in the top 5. I think he's not as young as Carson Wentz. He's about Russell Wilson age. But I think Andrew Luck he's the most talented quarterback we've seen in many, many years. God, I cannot stop coughing. It's killing me. But Andrew Luck, most talented quarterback I've seen in many, many years. I don't believe he can stay healthy, and especially in this day and age where people are looking out for injuries left and right. Obviously, even if he was like Brett Favre-esque in his talent, I don't believe he could possibly live up to playing through injuries like Brett Favre did. And again, this year, he's been dealing with a shoulder injury, which might keep him out the entire year. So if Andrew Luck can't get on track, I definitely don't want him at top 5. But, I don't know, his talent is so good that he has to be in the top 5. I was going back and forth between Andrew Luck and Drew Brees just because I think Drew Brees might be able to lead a franchise to more Super Bowl wins in the next 10 years. But that's solely based on Andrew Luck's health. If Andrew Luck can stay healthy, I'm easily taking him number 1 amongst these guys. So, just to go over that again, I got Aaron Rodgers, number 1, Carson Wentz, Tom Brady, Russell Wilson, Andrew Luck. So, yeah, that's the list of guys that I would like to start a franchise with at the moment. So, I'm going to close it out here. My cough is getting real. Hopefully, I'll get over this sickness in the next couple of days. I'm getting sick and tired of it. So that's our show for today. Just a reminder, go check out our previous 2 shows from this week, our Week 7 recap and our Week 8 preview. We got our starts and sits over there, our waiver wire ads, which are futile this week because of the bye apocalypse. So, follow us on Twitter and Instagram at the423football. Like us on Facebook. Leave your comments and questions. And more important than anything, don't be greedy with your fantasy football knowledge. Share us with anyone you encounter. Thanks for listening. We are the 423 Football Podcast.